Okay, we're good. We are making a YouTube video and a Facebook video and all this stuff. So I lost my train of thought because now all of a sudden the record button is on and now I feel like I have to be like a pretentious prick. I'm not going to be. All right, what we're doing, something different. I'm Steve. I do book shit. I am out there all the time in like Goodwill bins and basements. I work as a I'm the guy that local estate sale people call when they have a house full of books and either need guidance on how to, get it moved on or I'm involved in that process a lot of times anyway. So I try to learn. In one of my previous incarnations, I was a wedding photographer and I liked to do like really fun, high production type stuff. And you learn very quickly that that's not something that you want to figure out on the wedding day, right? You want to have practice whatever it is you're going to execute prior to the wedding day. So when you're actually on the wedding day, you can pull it off without wasting anyone's time. So I kind of approach everything in my life in that way. And so the more I know and understand about books, what books are available, what books exist. When people come in and ask me questions, do I have this or that? I want to be able to answer that question. So, you guys will be in part in the video, Jay. I need to get the chat on. I think I'm going to put it like there. I don't know where. Maybe I'll get rid of the database over there. So in that regard, this is what the database here is all about. We put this together over time. We look up each one of these authors. We try to understand the sell-through rate. So that way, when I'm out like at the Goodwill bins, this lets me be faster than the scanners, right? I love the scanners. They save books. Scan away, friends. But this is what allows me, like if you ever go to the bins and you're shaking your head going, I don't know why I didn't find anything. And I'm still walking out with 2 carts. This is why, because of the time we spent here doing that. So, but today, I know my face. I know, right? It's so weird. Like yesterday, we did the Saturday night show, right? Which is the big show. And it's awkward not having my face. It like really kind of throws off my groove, but we'll get it fixed. My port in my computer went down, which is what's going on there. But so I can't remember exactly when or where, but somebody came into the show the other night asking me for what an NYRB book is. Now, I have seen that. I didn't know offhand whether or not I had any because it wasn't something that I was like, it wasn't a category that I thought folks found relevant. I'm not overly sure what it was. I don't necessarily look at the list. And as I was kind of going through my day this morning, getting everything shipping and all that stuff ready from yesterday, I just, ADD popped into my head. So let's figure it out. That's what we're going to do. The scanners missed to sign Ann Rice. There you go. Always check for SIGs. Exactly, Jacob. Because that's a good point. When those folks hit that scan, the scan's not going to tell them whether or not the person who purchased that book sat in a line at a bookstore for 2 hours to meet their favorite author, right? You got to flip open to that title page, at least to the title page, right? On most books. Especially like political books, man, political people love to sign their shit. Just a pro tip. Anyway, so this morning I asked this question. I have folks coming to the show all the time and ask me if I have any NYRB. I think this means New York Review Board, maybe New York Times, not sure. Help me. So when book people specifically ask for NYRB, they almost always mean the New York Review Book. So a lot of you guys probably already know that. I wasn't sure, but assumed. But we're sure. So when you click this link here, it brings up this page. Don't lag on me now. You may not be able to check every book signatures, but for those hot ones for sure. Also, like anything really current, I would probably check as well. It's if you have time. It just depends on the context, right? Because like getting signatures and being out there is really the way a lot of people are marketing their books. So I'm starting to see a lot more signatures than I have in the past. So this is what the New York Review books are, the NYRB classics. I'll read this here. The NYRB Classic Series is dedicated to publishing an eclectic mix of fiction and nonfiction from different eras, and times of various sorts. Many of these titles are works in translation, and almost all feature an introduction by an outstanding writer, scholar, or critic of our day. So, that's what it is. That's what these are all about. So when you see, and they're all apparently, they have this style on the covers. And that's ADHD, autism, pattern recognition book. People, probably a lot of you are with me on that one. Introverts Unite. Not all of us, but a lot of us. Spicy. Anyway, this is a pattern to notice, right? This style of cover. So like when you're in that when you're racing against the scanners, you could see that style of cover, and it's probably not all that relevant which one you grab. All of these are going to be good based on that statement. And that's one of the ways that I'm so quick is publishers are a big deal. Like I know if I see a Del Rey, it's going to be sci-fi or fantasy. Tor, same thing. If I see a Bloom, I know that's going to be a particular type of book. I don't even necessarily need to see the cover. If I happen to see the back of it, I'm just going to pick it up based on the publisher. Exactly. Arkham House, Centipede Press, things like that. Always pick up those. It does not matter what it is. You start to see patterns like on style of like Franklin's, which and Easton Presses or International Collectors Libraries. You start being able to see just based on the style of the cover and the artwork what it is from a distance. And while the scanners are literally just grabbing every little thing out of the thing, you're a sniper. You know exactly what you're looking for. And at the end of the thing, you're not throwing back books because you only picked up books that have a high probability of you wanting to take them out the door. That way, instead of spending your time on the back end because you have this knowledge, you can just spend that time grabbing the good shit. Does that make sense? So a lot of people like those Shambhala Press for esoteric works. We'll have to look that up. I'm not overly familiar with that one. Easton Press, absolutely gorgeous. So what I want to do is I want to see what else the AI gave up to us. This I'm actually pretty familiar with. Look at that cover, too. It's gorgeous. So all of these authors are going to be badass, and they're all going to be fun. So each one of these authors are likely authors that you want to pick up. Do you know what I'm saying? So because these are going to be reprints of really, really, really powerful society impacting novels, which generally, because laws of supply and demand, those books are going to be in higher demand, and they may not have been recognized for what they were when they were first published, right? So the first editions, first prints, whatever the context is going to be on the probably more collectible side, which generally, not always, will lend to more value. Just depends on what your win condition is. Multiple win conditions can exist at once. Both value, because as book folks, we gotta electricity doesn't pay for itself. But what I want to do is I want to come back over here, kind of go through and see if there's anything else relevant here. Classics, republished, overlooked literary, historical, and international works. So again, recognize the reprint, then start recognizing the authors. And then when you see the authors out in the wild, even if you're not familiar with these works, because these seems like a little more off the beaten path, it's still in your brain. And what it's going to do is you're going to have that speed bump and you go, I don't know why I know this, but I know this. Always trust that feeling. Don't necessarily look it up right that second. Throw it in your cart. Look on it later. And so here are some authors. I wanted to at least go through Penelope Fitzgerald. I actually just sold a book 2 days ago that had her name on it. So that's probably the author. We're going to deep dive into this. And I wanted to see, let's go back to the website here. I wanted to see if there's like a current list. You know what I mean? Okay, like this, literally this. Ask and you shall receive, as they say. Let's look at classics. That's actually where we were. Okay, so these are the ones that are just released. So when somebody comes into the stream, and I know a lot of you guys sell too, right? Power to you. This is what they're asking, and apparently they're adding more and more to these all the time. So this is something that will we'll kind of look through. Let's just kind of just take a second. I just kind of want to flip through, like, this sounds cool. Memoirs from Beyond the Grave by Francois René de Chateaubriand. Like, this is probably French, right? And, like, did you guys ever hear of that? I never heard of that. But now we're all going to find one because we put it into the universe, if you believe Oprah and The Secret, which you probably shouldn't. But anyway, that lady's a trip. Virginia Woolf, Miss Dalloway, literally sold a copy of this last night. Actually, sitting one right over there. It's not this cover. Jan Kerouac, is that related to Jack Kerouac, maybe? So these are just like ADD, like fertile ground. You know what I'm saying? The Forbidden Experiment. What the hell is that about? I'm all about that life. That's cool. The Time of Silence. This, I want to point out also, this series, like the whole concept behind this is idiocy. I love it. That's probably something I would read. Honoré de Balzac. I don't know. I always... This guy is a very popular writer. I see a lot of his stuff. Pierre Goriot or something to that effect. You guys probably know it better than I do. Andre Breton, I've actually heard of him. Dante, this is that's Dante's Inferno. Dante Alighieri, and that's of course Paradise, Dante Paradise. Yeah, exactly, Jacob. I always have a hard time saying it. So Balzac, thank you. Yeah. I always end up saying Balzac, which is, not, I want to, I got to put respect on the name a little bit. Rumi, this is a really popular one. Henry James, I've seen this one in other formats. So I assume also that just like with the like the Barnes & Noble classics, the Penguin classics, and those all have a particular vibe, this is kind of in that same vein. I will say I find a lot less the Bewitched. How do you say it? Bourgeois. I always say it wrong. I always say Burgess, but I don't think that's how you say that word. I think it's bourgeois, right? Yeah, and I love the artwork. I love the style. What do the spines look like? Because that's important. So the spine, yeah, okay, I'm in. Those look very nice on a shelf. Very understated, minimalist, if you will. That's really cool. We'll go through a few more, maybe a page or two more. And then, so Fire by George R. Stewart. That's really cool. George R. Stewart rings a bell. The Pornographer. I wonder what that's about. And that's probably not like smut, right? That's probably like a story of a person who creates this stuff and, what that's like and what impact does that have on the soul, that kind of thing. Deep Shit, Man. Like Gigi, what's this about? Mourning a Beast. Love that cover. And those clouds look like a rib cage. And at the same time, they look like a shower, like rain streaking. That's cool. I tell you what, a good cover, I know they say never judge a book by its cover, but we all know that's bullshit. We all judge books by covers all the time. Nail your cover, team. It is worth, if you've got the money and the time, to do like what's it called? My Death by Lisa Tuttle. Lisa Tuttle sounds familiar. I'm probably looking at these more for the authors. Ooh, look at this. The Oceans of Cruelty. Does it give us what's it called? Descriptions. Oh, here we go. One of the oldest books in the world, The Oceans of Cruelty, is a sequence of 25 tales from India whose central theme is the dark power of storytelling. Maybe recognizing the impact of maybe propaganda, and didn't necessarily have the word propaganda to describe it with. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like, this is cool. Like, when was this published? Do we even know? At the start, a young king. I won't go into all of it, but so I just don't know any of these exist. Our Philosopher, The Fire Within, hot. That's a hot photo. The Limit. We are no prudes here at this place. Myself nor my wife. Love Affair, Life and Sorcery. What's that about? The Liar, Laments for Julie. Yeah, I would. Being honest, 99% of these never heard of. Never, ever heard of. Private Affair, People of More. Vasily Grossman, I think I've heard of just because I like the name Vasily so much. Kilometer. All right, so let's do this. Let's come back over here. Let's close this. And let's go. So, okay, that's kind of who the vibe is. Let's grab one of these authors here. Okay, no, actually, let's do this first. Let's see if there's any that are like, I used to do some graphic design. I see it like, yeah. And it's so important. Like it shouldn't be, but it is. And to dismiss it. And of course we're talking about the strength of book covers. For those who aren't going to be watching this later and can't see the chat. It matters. I mean, you don't have a second chance to make a first impression. You know what I'm saying? So whatever you got to do to get an eye-popping cover. Or it doesn't even necessarily have to be eye-popping. It could be a minimalist. It just needs to be good design. You know, and maybe capture and reflect the mood and at least genre of your book. Don't make me guess. Oh, congrats, Jacob. Yeah, I think you get coupons just for hanging out. So what are we doing here? I wanted to see NYRB Classics. And hopefully this is helpful. I'm definitely that guy who's like, I wonder if, and then immediately pulls out his phone to look it up. I hate not knowing, but I love finding out. But I guess I like not knowing because I end up being able to find out. I guess it's the state of not knowing and the transition to the state of knowing, if you want to get technical. What's the high? That's what we're looking up right now. The highest value classic. As I clunkily get through these filters. We're going to look. Okay, sold listings. We're going to go to highest first. This is, oh, you know what? We should have went to Terapeak as well. So it looks like lots of these go really well. So here's 30 of them. So whatever the math is there, that's almost what? $8. That's what? Just under $8 a book, $7.50, something like that. 15 for 90, so that's like $4.50 a book. Here's 9 for 10, and it probably does matter. Like it matters probably what the titles are, but these are worth picking up. They're nice, I guess, trade paperback size. Again, title doesn't seem to be overly, because people will buy 10 at a time, 15 at a time to throw on their shelf, and just to have these available to them, and then just kind of get through them over time. And there's probably like a bajillion of these, right? It does not seem like any one is really popping out. Let's see if we can't get a little further down here. And we'll look at Terapeak as well. They make you look smart on the shelf. There you go. Exactly. And they do, right? So yeah, imagine you're like a professional and you have you invite people into your space, consultations, interview, whatever the hell oh, here's one. This one's 25, The Criminal Mind by Jean Genet, maybe, because that's probably French. So about $5 a piece. Here's another one, Long Ships. That's about 15. I bet you it'll probably get Stoner by John Williams. What's that about? My NLB for, what did I just say? Stoner by who? God, my memory's like a goldfish. John Williams. Okay, let's find out what that is real quick. John Williams. Oh, and you guys can't even see what I'm typing. I'll scroll down. So originally published in 1965, this acclaimed literary novel follows William Stoner, the son of Missouri farmers. Hey, that's where I am. Whose discovery of literature at university transforms the course. Not at all what I thought this was going to say. And you generally always want to check AI because sometimes it hallucinates, but it does pretty good on the books. Love, disappointment, perseverance, largely. Yeah, not at all what I thought this was going to be. They make you look smart. I've got that exact book. People, they look for this. Okay, so really popular. I mean, it sounds cool. I mean, it's the discovery of literature at university transforms the course of his life. Like, this is the whole point of my existence, is creating this moment in people, right? This is one of the reasons why I like to make books is cheap, and we try to move as many as we can, because I want you to have this moment. I want the person that you hand the books I get to you to have this moment. I want everybody in the world to have this moment, because then our world would be less shitty. Do you know what I mean? Because then we'll all know that other people exist. And I didn't realize how much of a struggle that would be. You know what I mean? Yes, Jacob, exactly. Absolute all credit to Jacob Art for this quote. Jacoby Art, excuse me if I'm not saying that correctly. You want to have that stoner moment. Yes. Yes, on so many levels. Yes. Well played, sir. Well played. Journey by Moonlight. That looks really cool. It's another stoner. So, you know what? I saw Umberto and I got excited because I am aware of Umberto Eco. I do not know who Ernesto Umberto Saba is. We could look that up. And Strangers in the House. So, I mean, Life and Fate by Vasily. Here's another stoner. So that seems to be a relatively collectible book, which makes me want to. What did we say it was published in? Let's see what a first edition looks like. And this is how ADD happens, friends. 1965, stoner by who? John Williams. I'm going to remember that eventually. I had to say it like 10 times out loud. All right, so we want a first edition. Oh, this is it here. Oh my gosh, this is not even that old. Oh wait, this can't be the first edition, right? How can the book be published in 1960 or whatever the hell it said, and then this one say something's wrong here? Something's wrong. We got to figure it out. Maybe you just didn't mean to put 2013, or maybe it's a reprint. Because sometimes you can have like a vintage reprint of an older book, but those boards, they'll look pretty good. Those ages look to be about, 60s, 70s. Let's see what's going on here. But I could be, look at that. Maybe it's made to look like this. So yeah, that is a 2013 published by Vintage, which I guess is what do they call it? An imprint of Random House. Stoner in the John Williams says not in the basics. I knew what you meant, but I mean it in all ways, Jacoby. What do we call that? A double entendre? Or is that only to do with sex? Let's find out. Can a double entendre, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, simply mean double meaning, or is it in a specific context? I also want to point out, if you could ever get yourself to a point where you really don't mind not knowing something, like it really it opens up the world, because you can learn so much. Like don't be upset or like take it personal when you don't know something. The world is so full of knowledge, it's impossible for one person to contain all of that knowledge. You just need to, because you just maybe have yet to experience something, and then maybe you just forgot. So don't worry about not knowing something. Just look it up. No problem. Double entendre is simply a phrase, word, or statement with two meanings. However, in modern English, the term usually does carry. So both things were true, because that's what it actually means. But this is almost always the context that it's in. Okay, because that's what a double entendre. You want to have the stoner moment. It meant having a John Stoner moment, or a John Williams book moment, and then getting baked out of your skull. But we knew that already, and it didn't need to be explained. But here we are. Let's see if we can't find an actual first edition, because this was not it. And I hit the wrong button. Excellent. The title, Finnegan's Wake, from James Joyce. There you go. There you go. 3 simultaneous meanings each one. That's awesome. And shout out to James Joyce, and famous for writing, many things. Ulysses being one of them. So what we say, Stoner, John Williams, 1960, what? 1960, this was, here we go, 65. That's what I thought, but I wanted to check. Let's look. Oh, dang. The Necessary Lie. What's that about? John Williams, The Lie. What's that about? All right, let's find out. Dang, look at that, team. Holy smokes. This one's listed for $4,500 hundo. Oh my goodness. John Williams. This is it. Burn this name into your brains, because there's nothing that really stands out about, the white and red minimalist cover. I mean, looks like every other book from that genre, like nothing, unless you know who John Williams is. And this is what I'm talking about. We may have walked past this book 1,000 times before we picked it up and looked it up, but now it's in our brain. So now when we're out, this will stand out. Whereas obviously that book doesn't have a barcode. What's a scanner going to do? You know what I mean? I've been loving books since I could freaking read at like 5, and I didn't know who John Williams was. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just fantastic. So this is the 2013. I wonder if this is also what the old one looks like. Does not seem like there's a whole lot available. Here's a 50. So basically anything John Williams, and there's not a whole lot available. Let's check solds, because of course solds, anybody can list anything for any amount. Doesn't mean somebody bought it. Man, not a lot over here either. Let's look at Terapeak real fast. So Terapeak, for those that don't know, is where's research? Ba-da-da. I love this song. I'll try not to sing. So John Williams, last 90 days. Let's look purely in the book category. Books. Probably, I wish we could look at both books and antiquarian and collectible at the same time. Let's check it out. All right, average sold price. We're going to go all the way up. Okay, so that's not literally nothing that we're looking for. We might have to dial it in a little bit more. What was the book that we were, the Stoner or just Stoner? Let's see. Antiquarian collectible. Let's just go right there. Man, this isn't it either. We're kind of, oh, is this something else though? Let's check this out. This isn't like super expensive or anything, but Butcher's Crossing is another one. All right, John, I didn't get to find your first edition, but that's fine. Now I know your name. John Williams. Always hit pause, always look it up, you know, as you're digging through the boxes. That's something we learned. Let's keep my promise. I want to go to do Penelope Fitzgerald. And this is her here. She passed in 2019. She was born in 1916. English novelist. Penelope, let's see. She's won the Booker Prize for the book Offshore. Let's look that up. Offshore. Actually, let's just look up Penelope Fitzgerald. Dun, 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 dun. I appreciate everybody swinging by. This is the show. This is my gift to myself. I love looking up shit. I love learning shit. This is my happy place. And I would be doing this anyway, even if no one was watching me. So I figured everyone could benefit. And of course, the more we all know about books, the more books that we can save. Now, almost all books should be saved, right? That can be saved. But some especially the ones that are getting harder to find. Especially as we might move into kind of a dystopian technocracy, it's going to be important that we have hardcovers of things. Start building your libraries, friend. It's an act of defiance, while at the same time escapism and fun. So there's really no reason not to do it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. But so here's Offshore. It looks to be about a $50 first edition. I would probably, the takeaway here is probably going to be that author. I don't think I've ever seen this one. Again, no barcode. So your scanners are leaving this one behind. So if you ever find yourself in direct competition with scanners, or you know that they were right there, or whatever your context is, like, really start learning the old stuff. Like you'll still be able to find value while doing a service for all of us. You know what I mean? So not a whole lot of hurdle, but let's go down to 3 years and see. Actually, let's go back to 90 days and let's check just regular books, because there's 2 categories on eBay. Can you please explain that to my wife? I got your back, friend. I don't know if she'll listen to me if she's not already listening to you, but you know. Okay, the bookshop. That's cool. Let's look at this one. Okay, so here's some from Everyman's Library. And Everyman's Library is kind of like a modern library, if you guys are familiar with that publisher, which is very similar to NYRB. I think the biggest difference between NYRB is that they are doing things that are kind of more off the beaten path, things that necessarily didn't get like widespread literary acclaim, but were still very important. Or maybe they got literary acclaim in like their country, but didn't necessarily get international literary appeal for whatever reason, whether it be logistics or, you know, It's kind of, if you got a book from, ancient Greece, it probably didn't have a lot of, unless it was Aristotle or something. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. I'm rambling. But here's the bookshop. Penelope Fitzgerald again. This one here sold for $75. This was a sold price. And it was sold by World. Okay, I want to point something at this. I want to point this out. World Books USA. And you see here how much. At first, let me be clear. I do business with these folks. I'm not gonna dog them, but I want to show you something and why this is important. World of Books USA probably did not give them, whoever this person was, a lot of money, right? Let's actually check. Let's check World of Books. So what this is a book buyback company. I do use these folks. I would much rather send it off to these folks than have it sit here for 3 years and then they don't throw them in the trash, right? And I acknowledge they have a giant customer base, right? How much are your books worth? Penelope Fitzgerald. Let's see. Will it bring that up? Okay, it won't let me just do it. Let me see. I want to see how much they would have given a person for this book. And I can't see where to just put it in. Oh, that bums me out. No. I want more than that. Start selling. Oh, it won't. Where does it let you just put in a book? Shelf, maybe? I ain't doing all that. But anyway, this is what I'm talking about. So they just be careful when you're sending stuff out in bulk. This could, I don't know the scenario, but it makes me feel bad knowing that the owner of that book probably only got 30 cents and then World of Books got $75 for it. Now, I'm not begrudging World of Books that, they make it very clear what they're about. Everybody can check, but do double check your old stuff, especially. You know what I'm saying? And again, not dogging them. I send a lot of current books to them, especially. So, Everyman Library. Let's see. We got Jones. And that company, World of Books, that's one of the companies that if you're going to the Goodwill bins and you see a lot of people going beep, 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 that's one of the companies they're sending books out to, if that makes sense. Thrift Books has one. There's a website called Book Scouter. And these all have paid services. I don't pay for any of the services. I like to use them too because sometimes it gives me context. We used to look up Amazon sales rank all the time. And that isn't always perfect either, but it kind of gives you an indication of how popular or how fast a book would move. So that kind of thing. Not that to go off on a tangent about all that. All right. So I think that's probably going to about cover what I wanted to achieve here with the NYRB. And I'm obviously starting to rabbit trail a bit too much. I hope you guys learned something and it was a good time. I'm going to throw this up on YouTube. I probably won't edit it too much or else I won't ever do these because editing is kind of boring. But I appreciate you guys hanging out. Let me hit the off button here.